迎各位观众继续来收看今天的最后一个 BO3，我是长毛。
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You are, of course, watching the Season 4 World Championships China qualifiers. After a bit of downtime, we're getting ready to get into the final match of the night. This one is significant because, of course, it determines who moves on in the loser's bracket and who, of course, gets knocked out of contention for Worlds. Froskrin, what are your predictions for this one? I think I might know where this is going, but I want to hear it.
Of course, I am completely unbiased and would never. No, I think LGD's got this. Invictus Gaming's recent performance, especially in the OMG set, yes, OMG is a very high caliber team, was very lackluster on their decision making part. I feel like LGD much stronger and methodical in their gameplay. The issue that I have is I feel like LGD is one of those teams that, depending on the caliber of their opponent, plays to that certain level, or in their last case set, plays just underneath that level. I feel like IG is going to drag them down a dark and deep hole.
That is not a very happy prediction. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But LGD has shown to be the smarter team, just not the one that can execute. And you're right, IG has not been up to really the level of some of this other competition so far. They were not involved in the summer playoffs. A lot of people suspected maybe they weren't taking it seriously because they had a guaranteed spot in the qualifiers. But nothing we've seen today has really indicated that they have been practicing anything out of the ordinary, have been really getting up to the level they need to be. And I think LGD can beat them purely and strategically.
A big thing to take note, though, against LGD is their ability to tilt. Out of the 8 Barons that they got in their playoff sets, 5 of them came from their first set. So if that gives you any indication to kind of the teetering that can happen to them, we'll see if they're able to pick themselves up after that Starhorn Royal Club loss.
Mm-hmm. See what they're able to do going forward. I think pick and ban is really important to watch here. This is going to be the craziest matchup, especially in the mid lane. Like, throw the meta out the window at this point because these guys will play anything.
Yeah, and it's also very hard to ban against some of the champion pools of their core and key players. I expect that we'll see some blanket bans across the board. Again, the Maokai, the Alistair, things like that. But like you said, it's very hard to target and to lock down Wayless and Zatai.
That was adorable. Can we have a kiss cam in League of Legends? Is that a thing?
I don't think the makeup of the audience really assists for a kiss cam.
Wow. Way to alienate the people you're talking to. Shots fired. How many times have we done that tonight?
Quite a few.
Yeah, definitely. Well, going into this matchup, these are two teams that I think a lot of people didn't necessarily expect to make huge waves. Invictus a little bit more. They were historically a big team, but they seem to have been struggling to find an identity since the departure of PDD.
You're absolutely right there. The issue is that it was kind of a 1-2 knockout punch for IG. PDD was actually a new shot caller right before he left for retirement. So you have IG going through this period of time where PDD is learning the shot calling role, being the carry top laner, pioneering the Hurricane KL build and being that strong front runner for IG. He then actually retires this time around, not just a joke. Zatai having to step up and now become the shot caller to his team. So, losing a big leader right there, but they also lost their coach. IG's former coach is actually now coaching OMG, so...
That seems to have found a little more success in that particular organization. Although OMG, not without their troubles, did look even a little bit shaky in victory. I feel like that tomorrow matchup is going to be very, very tough for the Chinese gangsters to really maintain a control. If they do, it's only a 2 out of 3. OMG does better statistically in longer sets, but they were down to Starhorn Royal Club both times in 2 games in the playoffs, and that's going to be a tough proposition for them to come back from. On the other hand, Starhorn, they're looking for revenge, and they looked a lot snappier in those last matches against LGD.
Other than their stall out in the second part of that set, yes, Starhorn looking much stronger, much more methodical in what they want to make happen for themselves. And yeah, we can go back and forth all day. You know, OMG beat Starhorn Royal Club, but it was on the back half of the best of 5. If they had been best of 3, Starhorn Royal Club would have walked away with it. But, you know, there's always a different mentality from teams going into a best of 3 versus a best of 5. I mean, that said, if we want to go even farther back, historically back to Season 3 Worlds, it was a shoddy best of 3 that actually kicked OMG out of the second place, or I should just say the finals match.
IG was able to make that happen, and that's the whole reason they're here. They really didn't perform in the LPL summer to the level that they might have been expected. They were doing quite well in outside tournaments. They even were able to... didn't they beat EDG recently?
They did beat EDG. I was going Starhorn Royal Club, but you kind of took it one way. We can go with it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, but you never know, like, what the level the teams are playing at in these multitude of different tournaments, too. There are a number of circuits outside of the official league circuit in China. I mean, it's a very massive place for competition. There are a lot of players, a lot of teams. The LPL itself may only have 8 for now, but it's a massive secondary tier of competition. The LSPL 16 teams, they're adding more to the LPL. I mean, this is a region that just has so much talent to offer.
Have 1,000 challenger teams. That number that you saw up on the board was all of the players inside the league client. What they were giving out was every single champion and skin to the people that they picked out from the crowd. We talked about how they, like,
it was one hell of a raffle. Yeah, they spun the wheel, like, on all of the seats.
They gave out keyboards and stuff. This time around, it was in-client goodies.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, LGD prepping everyone, just loading up into the tournament client, it looks like. So just waiting in the lobby, waiting for the go button.
Got a lot to think about what they do picks and ban-wise. LGD definitely one of the smarter teams in regards to that. But how do you ban that which has no picks? Because he has all the picks. Zatai in the mid lane, the craziest player I think we have seen in a long time. But Wayless is making a statement that says, I can play to that level. But will it be enough?
Will it be enough indeed? Let's talk about how these teams match up. We've talked a lot about Zatai, Wayless. They have that unique champion pool going for them, but we've kind of glossed over the bot lane, which I think is relatively important. Kid and Kitties versus PYL and XQ. Kid and Kitties have the highest kill participation for Invictus Gaming, which, again, this is on a team with Zatai, so...
I mean, PYL is been a rock for this team in a lot of ways, and we'll see if it pans out for him this time. XQ might be newer, but, you know, he definitely has been making a pretty big statement for himself. LGD on the blue side this time. Their opponents Invictus on the red. Picks and bans underway, and they're taking their time to decide what they remove from the equation.
Looks like it might be a strategy of not banning anything.
We have seen this before. Sometimes we've mistaken it for the
I think
ban.
it's
okay, it looks like it's a spec issue.
Yeah, I think there was
the mind games.
Issue.
They're so real that you have to remake the lobby.
Well, the Fiddlesticks ban would make sense in this
strange.
case.
In this case,
LGD.
yes. In like the most sense a Fiddlesticks ban can make. I mean, it's not like a contested pick in the region. It's just Illusion made a name for himself back in the day on that champion.
Recently, though, has found very little success if we think
Only
back
one
to
game.
his most recent Fiddles
They
performance.
pulled it out one game, and it was silly.
Look at those sweet jerseys.
Mm-hmm. I wonder where you can get the merch sometimes. They don't seem to be available in stores. Like one of those T-shirts. I love LOL.
Through the TGA website, you can actually order a sweet OMG polo and mouse, but you have to buy them in combination.
Oh, really? That's how they get you, you know, upselling.
It's also coming from China,
would you like a mouse with your jacket? Okay, so first ban, it's Nocturne. And that makes a little bit of sense.
Does it?
Yeah, I think it does.
Nocturne Cosmic's being taken away, as well as Rise. Rise, an expected ban. Looks like they are going to be targeting out the jungle, so...
Illusion has a lot of fallback, though. He was one of the players that kind of tried to popularize Skarner for a little while. I don't really think it quite worked out the way he was hoping, but nonetheless, very unconventional choices of champions for both these teams in a lot of roles, and it makes it difficult, this ban phase.
I'm just hoping they ban more purple champions.
Well, so far, they are 3 for 3 on purple and blue.
Makai has purple eyes. It counts, right?
I thought they were pink, but, you know, maybe I'm colorblind.
Maybe I'm colorblind. Yasuo being the last ban, of course, not going to let either of these mid laners have such a powerful champion. Orianna still on the board, however, much more priority for Wayless than it is Zatai.
Well, Zatai will play anything. Absolutely anything. No worries at all there. But Invictus is really thinking about what they spend that last ban on, too. And, you know, these are two very strong personalities in very different roles. Zatai versus PYL, the Battle of the Minds. It's hard to tell who will come out on top of this one.
Taking away the Zillion, it leaves the Alistar open. He's been banned every single game, gets through, first picked.
Yep, that is going to be the cow. For the first time, they do manage to secure that one up. And the question is, does that go support, or do they take it in the top lane? This is pre-nerf Alistar. I guess if you could call it a nerf, it's pretty minor.
It takes away the automatic Sheen proc on his W.
But not this patch.
That said,
But it will not be this patch.
On the other side, it is going to be the Orianna takeaway from Wayless, so Zatai going to show up on that champion. Kid, looking at Lucian, has found a lot of success on the champion throughout the split. Again, much more to the base of his AD caster style as opposed to that auto attack heavy champion.
I actually want to give the bot lane kind of to XQ, just because his performance to keep up with Uzi was very impressive. If they do take the 2v2, I feel like LGD can take the offensive very early on. And we'll see what they do fill that out with. They will be up against a Lucian, of course, but right now focusing on filling out the jungle role, and they don't opt for the Lee Sin, trusting Xuen on a champion like Elise, as well as Wayless might be going for the Riven lock-in again. We've seen it once before. It worked out quite well. Not enough to get a win, but still make a statement. See if we see it here again.
Last second switch up is going to lock in that Twitch for XQ.
Ah, there we go. Something that Kid is very familiar with.
Played a lot of Twitch games at the beginning of the split, and speaking of familiar, we'll see if that Riven pick shows its face again. Wayless is very comfortable in any sort of Orianna matchup.
The tease, the Fiddlesticks tease for Illusion. I don't think he'll go for it.
He wants it. I can tell he's thinking about it.
Oh, please go Singe, Jiangsu.
He's thinking, how can I go 0-8 on Fiddlesticks again? I know how.
Oh, are they going to put Youngsu on Jax this game? No, there's still a Thresh up in the air. You got to go for the Lifesteal
And
bot lane.
Illusion locks in the Pantheon.
Yeah, wow. Okay. We have seen this on him, just not recently.
Big throwback champion. China was actually the very first region to play Pantheon jungle. Fun fact.
Well, if you want to talk about throwbacks, I mean, yeah, that's going way back there. Now, Kale Hover here. This is 17 style, which means we could see a support cow.
Looks like it's going to be support cow with a protect the Twitch style of composition.
That Riven Hover, though.
Again, Wayless is very confident in his Orianna matchups. The fact that he tailored that Lissandra pick, knowing exactly how he wanted to deal with Orianna, so...
Well, it's so frequent that you see Ori. Like,
Yes.
you've got to, somebody on Wayless's level knows how to deal with it, especially.
See if he can implement some more success on the Riven this time around, maybe find a win for his team.
Now, what will the last pickup for IG be here? Got to fill out that top lane. Youngsu has a couple of old standbys. Maybe they'll pull out something new.
I figured it'd be Aurelia or Jax, just
Yeah.
because
It's a safe choice.
the pressure from Aurelia, though, especially because you're competing against a Twitch, wanting to be able to get to that back line, delete that champion.
Well, they need to be able to follow up because XQ, if he kind of gets going, he can play that game that San typically likes to play over an OMG, which is just pepper the back line or pepper the front line consistently and never really be any serious danger. Kid can play the same kind of game on Lucian, and I feel like this is not going to be an AD carry-centric game. All eyes on that mid right now.
Shockwave definitely very important, but I feel like LGD is kind of rolling the dice pretty heavily on XQ's performance here.
Yeah, that's a rough proposition to be put in, but they're banking on their skill and their rotational ability to pull them through this one. I think that they're putting a lot of faith, especially into Xuen, on this Elise pickup. He did look better than we have seen him most of the split, but is he going to be good enough to deal with an Invictus Gaming team that you really never know what to expect from them? IG
in their current form is definitely lackluster in forethought. It's just an issue of keeping safe and not allowing these random picks and these long extended chases to collectively build up into snowballs. And I think LGD should have a pretty easy time breezing through this if they're just smart about their play style. I feel like they can easily outmaneuver IG.
That's always, well, they're generally smart, and the execution just isn't necessarily there. IG, we'll see if they have something up their sleeves, though. Again, we never know what to expect, but we will see shortly as we are getting loaded up. The final match of the night, LGD versus IG. One of these teams will definitely not be at Worlds, but who will it be? Guys, we're loading up onto Summoner's Rift. We'll be right with it. All right, here we are loaded up, and a lot of action starting out already. 17 finding Yangsu as the Ward Wars commence a little prematurely. Chuan actually wanting to find a fight here. LGD comes out swinging.
Swinging right into certain death. Wayless having to burn his flash there.
Oh, no, Wayless. He is exhausted, and he might just get going, gone. He's going to be able to get away. LGD taking the aggro start.
Definitely, and at a minute 30 here, IG wandering into the jungle, setting down some wards, see what they'll do with this vision. Of course, complete turnaround from what we saw in the first set between them and OMG on the aggressive.
Yeah, I think they're definitely tailoring their approach, and this has always been LGD's great strength, the ability to adapt. But also the double-edged sword of that. You play to the style, you play to the play of your opponents, and when it's IG, it's not always a good thing.
Chaotic. See, if IG kind of maybe turns up the heat again, it's just a question of what Invictus gaming team is going to show up. Looks like it is going to be a 2v2 in the bottom, though. Oh,
yeah, we'll take
no.
Uh-oh, Kid's going to face check right on into that. Oh, no, he dares it. It's a standoff. Kitties do the face checking, and there's a cow. Kid actually has to burn flash.
And, of course, with that important summoner down, returning to lane is going to be a bit of a threat, especially since Schwinn actually started over on the side of the blue buff, so he will be down bottom around that 3-minute, 3:30 mark, perhaps looking for a gank. Very possible, especially with the Alistar.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard to get through that front line, though. XQ should be really, really safe in this lane for a long time. POL providing an immense amount of zone. And you can tell how comfortable he is on a choice like this. I love the flexibility of this Alistar pick right now. Up in the top lane, 17 and Yangsu continue to duel. We've seen this before, and we will continue to see it. I think this is a very even matchup for these two, though.
Both of these champions will give a lot to their team in different ways. They're also both very snowball-heavy champions. I'm going to give the edge a little bit more, or at least I should say the important a little bit more to Aurelia in getting that snowball off the ground, but very item-dependent. It's just, you know, certain amount of gold comes into the champion, and they're going to be Kayle, they're going to be Aurelia no matter what.
Yeah, there is always that item dependency, but it's hard to shut down. And the later the game goes, it definitely gives an edge to whoever's running that champion.
Illusion, though, looking up top for the gank, does stand on a ward.
Yeah, he backs off away from that one. So far so safe. I feel like Pantheon is a bit strange. It's a comfort choice. It's not necessarily something that's going to be particularly strong in the meta. But we'll see what Illusion can do with it. He's played a number of unconventional junglers and made do on it. It's just LGD. If they can get the outplay, if they can predict it, then they can just keep staying safe indefinitely.
Illusion has always had a very gank-heavy style of jungling. See if he's able to pull that off. Unfortunately, though, like, the priority would be to gank for Zatai. That's the big snowball team and piece of Invictus Gaming, but since he's so pushed forward, Illusion having to look to that top lane. And
he's going to go top again.
Yeah, you don't see a ton of synergy between him and Youngsu at these important junctures, although doesn't find the ward this time around.
Yeah, he's actually just going to go ahead and back. Chuan actually trying to do a little bit of counter jungling, will be able to find the white if he wants it, but that's not really too much. If they go for the dive in the bot, I feel like they need to bring Wayless in on this. He has been pushed back, but he knows how to deal with an Orianna. Zatai seems to be a bit smarter, though, so he's kind of having some trouble securing himself the number of farm. Been set behind early on. Ooh, here comes Chuan into the bush. Waiting for Kid to get too far forward. Oh, they get the knock up. He's not going to be able to. Oh, he is! Oh, barely grabbing the lantern, and PYL did his best to block it out.
Of course, Chuan going to walk away from that one. Nice lantern grab.
Barely
Good job
revealed.
from Kitties. Again, on a big comfort champion. We didn't even really talk about the fact that, yeah, PYL got Alistair, and he's actually, you know, one of the few supports in LPL that plays Alistair well.
Yeah,
But Kitties on Thresh.
Yeah, Kitties, he's definitely a great Thresh player. I wouldn't necessarily put him at the level of like Zero, but he does get a lot of work done for what he's able to get with that champion. And it's not always picked against him. That's like he kind of flies in under the radar.
Youngsu going on the aggressive.
Yeah, forcing 17 back, but the damage is returning kind. You can tell this Aurelia is playing for the late game. They've got the flask start, of course. Wayless has really been shut down in farm here. Zatai really zoning well. Uh-oh, more aggression. Youngsu, be very careful. There is a Kale that nearly has 6.
Just keeping Wayless in the lane, making sure that he can't find the roam. I think it's very smart from IG, actually, taking away a big powerhouse from LGD's early game.
Yeah. LGD kind of looks like a team that isn't sure if it wants to stall out and try to like make something playing late. Again, they play to their opponents, but they don't necessarily do it as much proactively. And I think all eyes are kind of like on where's Illusion, what's he doing, can we stay safe against him, rather than trying to make a proactive push. Only this bot lane is really making a lot of moves.
Here we go, though. Looks like the junglers will finally meet, although Chuan, is he going for the reach round? There he goes. Okay, so he's on a board.
There we go. That's way less. Oh, Zatai, he's low. Wind Slash, that's going to be first blood. Gets answered back immediately. Both mid laners melt, leaving only the junglers to duke it out. Shuan actually has a jump on Illusion. Does he have the damage, though? He's going to have to dive for it. Illusion's a level down. Oh my goodness. That's not where you want to be. An Illusion with the tiniest of health bars manages to make Shuan back away. Wow. That was close.
The big difference here, though, is the fact that Zatai got the kill, whereas Chuan got the one on LGD. So the gold stays in the lane versus the jungle. That first blood gold doesn't really mean anything if it's, you know, farming the white camp. So it's now on to pressure, it's the pressure on Chuan to make sure that he can spread that gold around to his team and get more involved.
Yeah, it is really just the slightest of advantages that really doesn't mean a whole lot as the game goes forward. Interesting to see how this will develop, because everyone, I feel like, has a similar scaling, except the mid lane. Wayless has a ticking time bomb on his head to deal with Zatai. If he doesn't, then that's going to be a liability for his team. Everybody else should be relatively on the same level and have their usefulness throughout the game. Now, what do they do? I feel like there needs to be more jungle pressure in the mid lane, and Chuan kind of got burned a little bit, even though he was able to make a play.
And even scarier for Wayless is the fact that he's falling so far behind on farm, something that is a big priority for him and a big strength, and what's able to make him carry into that mid game. 20 CS down at the 6-minute mark.
Yeah, that's uncharacteristic for him. He doesn't always win lane, but he's usually not nearly that far behind, and he's been able to make plays. Now, he will attempt to go and find a little bit of counter jungling too, gets the roam off, but he doesn't know that Zatai is also in the area, and this is a dangerous maneuver. He will be able to get away Zatai with the ball to zone. Oh, right. Meanwhile, the bot lane, Kitties, they found XQ, but there's the Alistair heal. PYL taking a lot of culling shots for his carry. XQ, however, goes invis and gets out just fine. They're able to make the escape when they need to. Kitties with the front line, though. He has been pretty monstrous on this Thresh pickup.
Both these supports are very comfortable with their picks. I feel like PYL and XQ are a bit more of a lane presence duo, where, again, Kid...
Oh, way less. You don't need a jungler to counter jungle. However, you might need some help. Way less. He gets caught up in the shockwave. Zatai, wind slash. Zatai is low. However, this fight is getting all kinds of crazy, and 17 has to ult himself. Shuan is low. Kitties is low. Everybody's low health bars. Who will go down? It looks like Shuan will finally fall. Kid gets ignited, but it's not going to be enough. They're going to be able to take the damage, take the fight. POL looking for the kill. Won't get it. Cow goes down. That is a clean ace. Well, an ace for 2 at least, and that's going to be a dragon attempted by Invictus Gaming at 9.5 minutes.
Huge turning point. There was zero reason for Wayless to be right there. The fact that that's twice now that he's invaded, completely relying on simply his Riven's mobility to get him out of harm's way, goes way too deep and gets burned. But the fact that IG was setting up and waiting for him, and the nice claps from Zatai,
Could have been a lot worse. I mean, they managed to get 2
Could it?
members of Invictus. I really think so. Like, it could have been a worse fight, and that's really the scary thing. Invictus Gaming fought that incredibly better. They took advantage of the fact that Wayless decided to go extremely hero mode. And you're right, there was absolutely no need. I feel like he's getting desperate, and that's not a good way to start a 3-set.
Just trying to find picks, trying to place these deep wards to do what we saw him do against Starhome Royal Club, you know, running in and stealing the red buff, finding the jungler alone on the camp, but Zatai just so quick to respond and to collapse.
Yeah, and that's really the result of it. You can see, nice fight for them, much better than what LGD has been able to offer. And you know, you got to feel for these guys. Like, they have the strategical wherewithal. They play not quite up to the level, and then they try something crazy like that, and it just completely backfires.
The issue has always been the communication and the reins on Wayless, making sure that he doesn't go too hero. He has that reputation of going ham, and it burned them, especially against Invictus Gaming, a team that's known pretty much to go ham the entire time.
Youngsu, who's getting baited. Illusion comes in, but he doesn't get the man drop onto anyone, just using it for zone. The ult is spent. Intervention onto Shuon. Spider will live, but so will Youngsu and Illusion, and there's the disengage. Meanwhile, Zatai on the long roam up if they stick around. He does have Shockwave. Can he execute? Oh, Kitty, he's in trouble on the bot side. Maybe not as much as it looked at first glance. No jungle pressure whatsoever. Here's Illusion and Zatai. Ball comes in. Not going to try for a Shockwave.
Good vision control from IG also in the top wave to make that route up there. Had the 2 pink wards. Had control of the brush.
He looks like the much stronger mid. Zatai has this mindset, and because he's winning lane, he's been able to do a lot more. I feel like PYL has to contend with trying to make plays in the spot lane 2v2, as well as trying to call out what's going on the rest of the map, and that's definitely adding a lot of pressure to him.
It's a different performance than the Zatai that we saw against OMG. That said, Ahri is not necessarily one of his big champion pickup.
Oh, Kid knocked back in. Lantern, hello, goodbye. Wow, he only took, it looked like he took a shot, but I didn't see any damage.
It was the Lantern
the
shield.
Ah, there we go. Wayless finds the tie, but Wayless is low. Going hero again. He gets the kill, but he finds Illusion to make it an even 1-for-1. Meanwhile, the bot lane PYL is trying to get out of that box. Can he escape? XQ's low, flashing forward, Kid. He has a double tap available, and he gets it. PYL should fall down. Secondary, nice hook in, and that's a double kill for Lucian. 3-0. Kid is going wild.
Invictus Gaming running away with this game.
Yeah, it's starting to scale in their favor hugely now at 3K gold lead at 12.5 minutes. Dragon will be up in a few more minutes. Youngsu taking the incentive, forcing the ultimate out of 17. How long can he last? The answer is 1 blade surge away, and I think Youngsu's got this one in the bag. Ooh, nice slowdown. Burns his flash, actually, but in the end, he gets his man. Yeah, Invictus Gaming, this is the team we were waiting to see, but it's only coming out now against LGD.
Well, let's hold on 1 minute. IG is performing very well, yes, but it is in the lane phase. There are no, although Chuan and Illusion now facing off, Chuan gonna have to walk away from that one. There's no objectives in play for. There's no, you know, outthinking each other, control and play around vision. This is just people finding each other in the lanes and smashing their face over creeps. So it looks fantastic. Can IG snowball this advantage into strategical play into that late game and secure a victory? That's the real question.
Well, they've definitely got the item lead, and they were making do with less before then, but yeah, they have to be able to take these straight fights when they do happen. There is a bit of a timer on some of Invictus Gaming's team members. Kid and Illusion particularly will fall off as the later the game goes on, but we have seen very quick games out of all our competitors tonight. And I think LGD, as much as they might want to try to stall this out, they're not really playing to the level that would allow them to do it. They're really just getting run around and have to react to everything here.
Definitely. I just still think that there's hope for LGD to outmaneuver Invictus Gaming. I know it sounds bizarre, but IG has effectively been spoon-fed this gold lead by LGD making positional errors either through collapses in the enemy jungle or lost 1v1s. Yeah,
it's not looking too good for them right now. They need to be able to take some kind of objective on the map, and it's just, they look lost again. I mean, this is the LGD that's, we're behind, we know how to play from behind, but we're not doing it. And PYL, it feels like he has too much on his plate to deal with. And now XQ takes a little bit of poke damage too. Kid eyeballing that red buff in his sights, and not a huge farm lead, but the 3 kills is really making all the difference here. Completed Infinity Edge at 15 minutes.
A little bit ridiculous. I expect to see
OPYL. He gets hooked
Illusion.
up. Speaking of Illusion.
I expect to see Illusion use that Grand Skyfall relatively soon, especially with the dragon just around the corner.
Oh,
17,
17, wow. Last second ultimate. Jeez, he's just barely getting away every single time. I mean, Yangsu is stepping all over him with Aurelia. Where was this guy all split when he just was playing Gragas and Shyvana?
To be fair, I think the matchup is very different, and Youngsu definitely one of the top laners that has probably seen the most progress over the course of the split. Started out very shaky due to, nerves, communication issues, what have you, but has really come into his own for IG and replacing PDD.
Yep, looks like the Dragon attempt getting started up, and this is pretty uncontestable right now. That should go easily into the pockets of Invictus. A fairly big gold lead now at only 16 minutes into the game.
See what they can do again to continue to snowball this and prioritize structural objectives. Do see some pings, perhaps looking towards that mid tower, but looks like everyone's just going to go ahead and go back, and very extended laning phase from both sides.
Yeah, and I think this favors IG. They want to be able to stall it out, and if they find picks, that's great. If not, they'll just keep controlling the pace of the lanes. They're winning every single lane, and they grab themselves their first tower of the game.
With this, again, it comes down to what does LGD need to do from this point. And unfortunately, IG is actually making good progress. You see them going back, buying pinks, securing vision of the jungle, and looking for more picks. The fact that Illusion is spending more time in Chuan's jungle than his own. I like the fact that they have the advantage, and they're keeping the pressure on. This is the IG that I've wanted to see for a very long time.
Well, I feel like it's only made possible by LGD's insistence on playing this early game extremely passive, with the exception of Wayless. He goes ham, the rest of the team says no, 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 and they're completely disorganized in that regard.
The tilting coming true, perhaps.
It is definitely an issue. And, again, this is a team that a lot of people didn't even expect to make it, so it's already a testament to their ability to step up, but the issue is they just don't quite have the execution, and at this point, yeah, the synergy's starting to come apart at the seams. IG looking to capitalize.
See what they're able to push forward with. Again, no dragon on the map, so the next most important objective for them is going to be that mid-tier tower. The reason being is that it gives the most passive vision, or excuse me, the most passive control and vision control over the map.
Yeah, they can exert pretty much a lot of pressure wherever they want at this point. However, there's a wave shoving up on the top side, not being pursued by 17. Might be a little bit of a misplay if you want to get a little extra damage there, just trying to deny as many minions as he can to Yangsu, who is already fairly ahead of him.
I feel like IG should be grouping at this point and looking for securing more objectives, instead of allowing LGD to kind of slow the pace down of the game again.
Well, speaking of slow, that's not happening right now. Yangsu finding 17 in the top side, forcing the ultimate out. Flashes burn. Can Yangsu dive the tower? He's taken damage, and he will be able to secure it up at the end of the day. But suddenly there's a cow. Yangsu might go down. A little more than he bargained for when he went for the dive. Grand Skyfall now coming in. Illusion, I regret this decision immediately. Runaway burning. But he takes the lantern to safety.
Illusion, very off with his Grand Skyfall so far. I believe we've seen 3 in the game. Nothing has really added up. Of course, XQ picking up that free solo kill on Kid without his support there to protect him. The assassination twitch coming out now that he has his Bork available to him.
Yeah, that is a little bit questionable. Now, apart from it, Illusion has been, and the rest of the team has been pretty well on point. But yeah, the Grand Skyfalls, I feel, are being underutilized when they should be, and then just spent kind of on random occurrences like that. He didn't actually do it until effectively Yangsu is dead.
Irresponsible. Definitely right there. Illusion showing that Pantheon really hasn't been played recently and showing quite a bit of rust on that champion.
Yeah, I don't think he's necessarily been practicing it either. This was just the opportunity for them to break it out. But this Invictus Gaming is that team. We haven't played this champ for 6 months. All right, let's break it out.
I'm actually very curious if they didn't fall back to the Skarner pick.
I'm glad they didn't.
What? I love the Skarner.
It was rough. Okay, let's see this replay down on the bot, by the way. Kid and XQ The duel commences. Oh, kid. No, run, 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 run. The outplays. It's not enough, XQ. Yeah, that was what we missed, by the way, while all that was happening.
The issue is that the Bork was complete. It means that Twitch has the assassination potential on pretty much, you know, almost every single target on the map.
Speaking of assassination potential, Chuen gets caught up on a line. PYL with the zone, allowing him to come down in time, but that might have not been the right choice. PYL is low. The ball is up. They can get a shockwave out, not spending it. 4 members of LGD, all 5 actually now here. And here comes, way less on the ball. Illusion gets the jump. It's not going to connect. Youngsu finally coming to the party. Win slash already spent on way less. And the siege continues. After they get the tower, they look for more.
See if they can continue to make this pressure here. They do have Zitai with the blue buff.
LGD is pretty low. XQ trying for the execution onto Kid. Doesn't have quite enough damage. Aurelia backing away. Way less trying to make a move. Flaying off. This is anybody's fight at this point. So dangerous. Twitch coming forward on this one. Kitties might go down. Has to spend the box. They don't know if they want to go back in on it. PYL is low. Auto attack's not enough to finish, and nobody dies.
They're still sitting on the intervention as well, so the KO ultimate is still available despite all of those blinking health bars.
Too rich for IG's blood. They're going to back off of this one and go for greener pastures. Top and bottom need pushing out, and they will send a couple of members either way. Youngsu going back to his solo lane. That is the longest standing top lane I think we've seen in a while.
Huge pressure from XQ right there to save his tower. Can we talk about that? Great damage and amazing Twitch ultimate.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he got up in totally no fear because by the time he was in their faces, they were already being spray and prayed over and over again. Really well done by XQ. Again,
the communication to make sure that the intervention would be available for Twitch despite the entire team having less than 20 HP.
Oh boy. This could be a quick dragon now. Youngsu has teleport available if he has to use it. So does 17. His tower is being chunked down as we speak, and it will finally fall. That is the 3rd tower, the last outer tower. Invictus Gaming has managed to secure. Dragon now being started. Oh, this is risky. Shuan is here. This is the 50-50 dragon fight. And we haven't seen one of these today just yet. However, it's going to go down real quick, like not even tried by LGD. And that, I think, shows a lack of confidence.
That said, Chuen doesn't have the stronger smite. It's a level down. Didn't want to necessarily... Oh, wait, actually. Never mind. My stream glitched out. He's actually a level ahead.
He's higher than Illusion, so that was a really questionable decision. I understand not wanting to give a big advantage, but I think they could have pulled that one off.
He didn't have Flash available. It would be a suicide mission.
Excuses, Frostgren.
Could have pulled... I don't know.
I mean, they could have taken a fight. There were so many things, and they just chose to take a race camp.
It's them reverting back to what they did with Starhorn Royal Club. You know, we're already behind. We can't afford to fall further behind, allow the snowball. Just stall the game out, ward the jungle defensively, move to the outer lanes, pick up the free CS, pick up the free jungle camps, and see you in 25 minutes.
Yeah, well... IG might not give them that amount of time. Gold Lead's starting to get pretty crazy here, although they've been able to make plays on XQ's Twitch. It is kind of a long way going to get back into this one. PYL trying to take the long way back home. The hook will not connect. PYL will take some damage. But way less waiting in the wings was spotted out by Award, and that is the disengage from Invictus Gaming. They are playing so smart, so safe, while still maintaining this level of pressure all around the map. Youngsu with a 4-1 split. Hook on into Shuan. He gets himself caught up. The box is there, but there is the rest of LGD. The Culling comes out to soften up that cow, and they will get XQ with the ball. That is going to be the intervention spent. Youngsu's low. Kid is low. Windslash coming in. Wayless doing massive damage in the backline, but Illusion making plays himself, and that will end up being a 2-for-1 trade. Invictus coming up with the win there, and without XQ, I think they can push on this with impunity. There is no ultimate available for 17, and they're going to have to back away.
And unfortunately, 17 doesn't have mana.
Oh, Youngsu!
Oh, God.
Whoa, going for the kill. He gets knocked into tower range. This is going to be yet another fight. Shuan is low. He goes down 17. Last man standing. This could be an inhibitor turret, Frost. This is a nightmare for LGD.
Just filing in one at a time, not saying, you know, we just need to go back. Staggering incorrectly, didn't have the mana, don't have the resources to try to stall this out. Again, the big issue was that Kale wasn't able to clear the wave, and IG making the smart call here that said, you know, we got 2 towers, the death timers are still low, it's only 24 minutes into the game, don't try for the inhib, backspin the gold, and try to find snowball elsewhere.
It seems like when they don't have a lot of pressure on them, they completely excel. This is why they have a hard time with teams that can beat them down, like OMG, like Starhorn Royal Club. It's hard to deal with teams that will control you or just brute force you. Whereas LGD, they play very reactive. They try to play to the style, and Invictus has been beating that time and time again.
It doesn't help that IG got their classic MO, which is
they got a collapse right here. XQ, oh man, he's going low. Summoner heal already burned. Aurelia ult coming out. XQ on the run. The ball comes in. It's going to go down. That's going to be a double pickup. XQ and PYL falling down after that, and the chase is on. Xuen getting called out. That is another intervention spent on Xuen, and I don't even know if they needed it. 17 flashing, but so is Youngsu. They're looking to take this fight here, and now Youngsu chasing out the Kale. Can he get it? Blade Surge almost off of cooldown, and he doesn't even need it. Way less going for the fight. Command Protect. Youngsu says, thank you very much. I'll take this fight, and I'll take myself a double kill.
Wayless. Miscommunication from the team. Again, LGD just kind of filing in one after the other. A secondary ace.
Easy now, and they should be able to take a Baron off of this if they really want it. I don't know if they're going to get that frisky, but I think they are heading in that general direction, Frosk. I think we see where this game is going.
I mean, at this point, there's not much LGD can do. Losing an inhibitor at 26 minutes is pretty much a death threat, especially because you look at their wave clear, it's not the strongest for them. They do have the Kale, but locking up 17 in that position.
Well, once they lose Twitch, it's pretty much lights out. That's the only thing that Invictus is afraid of, and once they're able to catch him, then they just snowball ahead, and that was the start of the end of the game here. For LGD, they might just start thinking about next game, because you're right, it's going to be so hard for them to come back, and bless their souls, they're trying, but I don't know about this one, Froskarin.
Just incorrect coordination, not playing together as a team. They just look like separate units. Wayless kind of off doing his own thing, whereas XQ and PYL are trying to move in, one direction. Wayless is going the other, and IG is just running straight down the middle. With the Baron buff and the mid inhibitor already taken down, I should expect to see them focus their attention on that bottom lane. Make sure that they can get that bot inhibitor for the next time Baron spawns.
Yep, here we go. Speaking of Baron, that buff definitely coming in handy, as now IG can seriously throw their weight around even more than they could before. We'll have to see what they end up doing with this one. Forcing objectives will be in their best interest, and it looks like they're heading towards the bot lane.
Now the idea here is, of course, if they lock up that bot inhibitor, by the time Baron spawns, they'll have created, hopefully, a big pressure point of super minions on the bottom side of the map, forcing LGD to respawn and be out of position to give them another free Baron buff. If LGD can even last that long.
It's hard to say. One tower falls down without much of a fight. PYL making a feint of resistance, but as big as that cow is, I don't think he can block the entire damage that this team can throw at him. Ball's going to connect on Shu on Dissonance coming in. They are getting him nice and slowed up. Youngsu, unafraid of any of the damage, and Kitties is just flinging out hooks to try and see if he can grab anything. And this tower taking quite a bit of damage as Illusion comes up through the mid. Nothing much to take there, but they could take the fight. They could dive at this point if they want to. And I think they're just biding their time. Oh my goodness, 17. He is so low. Summoner heal. Youngsu in there, gets right back to safety, and there is the Grand Man drop. And this might be the end of the game. Here goes the fight. Rappel up. Can Xuen stay alive in this one? Shockwave going to land on Wayless. Next Q. Boxes down. Wayless gets himself ulted. That is going to be everyone from LGD absolutely evaporating from the map. And it is a clean 3 for none. Inhibitor number 2 going to fall. This is going to be the end of the game right here, right now. Can they get the ace? Yes, they can. And that is game number 1 going in favor of Invictus Gaming. 28.5 minutes, and they just grabbed a lead, never letting go.
3-ace game from Invictus Gaming. I want to talk about kind of the last play because I thought it was very clever, using Pantheon almost as a pseudo-Nocturne in a sense, allowing him to have the mid-split push because he's able to get involved with the Grand Skyfall, as we saw in the back half of that team fight. Probably the best that he had all game, but huge playmaker right there. Again, the bot lane, Kid and Kitties and Zatai. The 3 pillars of Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, and they have come up big, absolutely massive in that first game. They are one step closer to keeping the dream alive. Can they go to Worlds? Can they deal with either Starhorn or OMG? That's the real question. I think they've proved they can deal with LGD, and that team has a bit of soul-searching if they want to stay alive in this one. That was a pretty big emotional and mental victory for Invictus.
And with this, LGD will be playing from the back foot. It's game, set, and match for their world dreams to go good night.
Yep, that is all said and done. So we will see if this is in fact the last game. Will we have a couple of 3 2-0s on the evening, or will LGD answer on back? We'll have to find out after these messages, guys. We'll be right back. You are, of course, watching the Season 4 World Championship qualifiers for China here on LPL EN. Don't go anywhere, as the action continues in just a few. Some of this other competition so far. They were not involved in the summer playoffs. A lot of people suspected maybe they weren't taking it seriously because they had a guaranteed spot in the qualifiers. But nothing we've seen today has really indicated that they have been practicing anything out of the ordinary, have been really getting up to the level they need to be. And I think LGD can beat them purely and strategically.
A big thing to take note, though, against LGD is their ability to tilt. Out of the 8 Barons that they got in their playoff sets, 5 of them came from their first set. So if that gives you any indication to kind of the teetering that can happen to them, we'll see if they're able to pick themselves up after that Starhorn Royal Club loss.
See what they're able to do going forward. I think pick and ban is really important to watch here. This is going to be the craziest matchup, especially in the mid lane. Like, throw the meta out the window at this point, because these guys will play anything.
Yeah, and it's also very hard to ban against some of the champion pools of their core and key players. I expect that we'll see some blanket bans across the board. Again, the Maokai, the Alistair, things like that. But like you said, it's very hard to target and to lock down Wayless and Zatai.
That was adorable. Can we have a kiss cam in League of Legends? Is that a thing?
I don't think the makeup of the audience really assists for a kiss cam.
Wow. Way to alienate the people you're talking to. Shots fired. How many times have we done that tonight?
Quite a few.
Yeah, definitely. Well, going into this matchup, these are 2 teams that I think a lot of people didn't necessarily expect to make huge waves. Invictus a little bit more. They were historically a big team, but they seem to have been struggling to find an identity since the departure of PDD.
You're absolutely right there. The issue is
who's on in the losers bracket and who, of course, gets knocked out of contention for Worlds. Froskrin, what are your predictions for this one? I think I might know where this is going, but I want to hear it.
Of course, I am completely unbiased and would never... No, I think LGD's got this. Invictus Gaming's recent performance, especially in the OMG set, yes, OMG is a very high caliber team, was very lackluster on their decision making part. I feel like LGD much stronger and methodical in their gameplay. The issue that I have is I feel like LGD is one of those teams that, depending on the caliber of their opponent, plays to that certain level, or in their last case set, plays just underneath that level. I feel like IG is going to drag them down a dark and deep hole.
That is not a very happy prediction. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But LGD has shown to be the smarter team, just not the one that can execute. And you're right, IG has not been up to really the level of
that. It was kind of a 1-2 knockout punch for IG. PDD was actually a new shot caller right before he left for retirement. So you have IG going through this period of time where PDD is learning the shot calling role, being the carry top laner, you know, pioneering the Hurricane KL build and being that strong front runner for IG. He then actually retires this time around, not just a joke. Zatai having to step up and now become the shot caller to his team. So, you know, losing a big leader right there, but they also lost their coach. IG's former coach is actually now coaching OMG, so...
That seems to have found a little more success in that particular organization. Although OMG, not without their troubles, did look even a little bit shaky in victory. I feel like that tomorrow matchup is going to be very, very tough for the Chinese gangsters to really maintain a control. If they do, it's only a 2 out of 3. OMG does better statistically in longer...
欢迎各位观众继续来收看今天的最后一个 BO3，我是长毛。
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You are, of course, watching the Season 4 World Championships China qualifiers. After a bit of downtime, we're getting ready to get into the final match of the night. This one is significant because, of course, it determines who moves